actually found it for sale on Craigslist, but I had done some research on oyster farming in Alaska about 3 years prior to the farm coming up for sale. And the farm was up for sale at that point, and then it was resold to us. But during my research, I started communicating with the original owners of the farm 3 years prior to that, trying to see if it would make sense for us to try to operate this farm while we were still commercial fishing in Kenai, Alaska.
When this oyster farm came up for sale the second time, because we were interested in it the first time but just couldn't make it work out, and then it came up for sale again in 2020, so it's when we bought it. It was in March of 2020. We just decided to go ahead and do it, and just because of COVID, it all just worked out for us to be up here as a family, because the kids were all doing online school. And it's just a nice change of weather, and we do miss the sunshine, but I think we like it here a little more.
So I owned a construction company in Arizona. That's what I did for 23 years.
It's an adventure, but we've always been up for adventures. And I think it was time to leave Arizona. Being born and raised there, been there for 45 years, give or take. And it was just time for a change.
Our oysters right now go to lots of different places, but our primary purchaser is in Phoenix, Arizona. It's a restaurant chain called Buck and Ryder, and we send about 80 to 90% of our oysters to them right now. We do sell locally, and we have an oyster bar in Homer, Alaska that we send to seasonally.
It's my job to do a temperature check every morning before I put the oysters in our little fridge that we have, and then count and separate and put them in there. That's like the first thing I do, really, is get that going. But it's pretty laid back.
Mondays, our oysters typically arrive from the farm on either Saturday, Sunday, or early Monday morning, and we sort all of our oysters, and once we have them sorted and sized, we fulfill all of our orders for the week, and then I get them ready to ship. I box them up, take them to the airport, get them shipped out, and then we clean the packing house and get ready to do it all over again the next week. I currently have one employee that's managing the day-to-day operation out at the farm, because the farm's 30 miles from here by boat, so it's not something you can just go do a day trip all the time. So Matt takes care of day-to-day operations out there, and then I go and help him on if he needs an extra hand for special projects, things like that. But he's doing a really amazing job managing the actual farming of the oysters, so I'm more of a manager, and also dealing with promotion and sales is more my role.
I got kind of known as being a good worker, and so when Grizz and Sharon approached me to work for them out at the oyster farm, I took them on the opportunity to learn some new skills and do something different that I've never done.
Oysters are different because of where they're grown. Most oysters are grown in an estuary or in a bay that has fresh water influence from a river, and our oysters are out in the middle of the ocean, so we don't have any of that freshwater influence, which means we have a higher level of salinity, but it also creates a different phytoplankton than what most oysters eat, so they have a unique flavor that you can't match anywhere else because of the environment that they're in.
I loved it. It was definitely one of my best jobs as a teenager, and if I had the opportunity to do it again, I would.
Raising an animal in an environment that it's not native to always has its challenges. We have killed a lot of oysters by accident because we are using newer techniques that really have not been utilized here, but we think we can pull it off, but we are having to figure out the nuances of growing oysters a little differently than everybody else in Alaska. We know that we can do it now. We have to make sure that we're providing a different environment than what we thought we would need to provide for them. So that's been the biggest challenge is figuring out if what we're doing is the right technique, or how do we modify the technique to get our oysters to grow the way we want them to grow.
I did a lot of the sorting. I mean, it taught me a lot because, like I said, I was a teenager when I started working out there.
There's way more demand than there is product, especially for a rare Alaskan oyster. So everybody kind of helps each other out. Nobody's really being secretive, so I get a lot of help from other farmers too. Everybody kind of shares their challenges and their successes, and so you can kind of tailor that information to fit to your farm in what you're doing. So.
Favorite memory would be on nice evenings just having a bonfire and eating fresh oysters right over the fire.
It has been an adventure for sure, and every day is a new challenge, and I think that's kind of what I thrive on, especially from the construction world. I enjoyed taking on new challenges, learning new techniques, trying new things, and I got to the point where I was just running out of those challenges, and it just got to be the same thing every day. And so having these challenges and trying to think through problems and trying to learn new things, I think is what kind of keeps me going. So, because life gets too boring otherwise. So.
I think the oyster farm is a special place.
Absolutely. I'm not sure how many other places in this world are quite as unique as living on an island.
Did you ever think you would be an oyster farmer?
No, it was definitely not on my list of things to do in life. But being in remote Alaska has always been something that I was always interested in. And so this opportunity, not only it wasn't specifically about the oysters, it was about the challenge of learning a new industry, the appeal of being in Southeast Alaska, and basically having your own little island out in the middle of the ocean that you're out there all by yourself is pretty interesting. So I think it was a combination of a challenge business-wise, but also something that I've always been interested in, being in remote Alaska and trying to do something there. So
we are. Brian may have said this before, but we are like the oldest continuing running oyster farm in Alaska, which I think is pretty cool. There's a lot of history to it, and the original owners built, you'll see if you come into our shop, see pictures of our cabins, and it's pretty cool because the original owners built those from his bare hands, and that's where him and his wife lived for 30 some years. So it's really cool. And they left a journal in the cabins back there, and so it's been fun to kind of go through the journals and read about all that they did to keep the farm going. So for me, that's probably one of the coolest things.